Have you heard the news? Something incredible just happened in Germany, and it's sending shockwaves through millions of families across the country. The CSU has just made it official. Mütterrente 3 kommt. Yes, you heard that right. After months of debates, political pressure, and passionate discussions about justice for parents, the next big pension reform is finally on its way. This is not just another small change. This is a real Renten-Hammer 2025, and it could mean hundreds of euros more for millions of mothers. For years, mothers in Germany have fought for fair recognition of their contribution to society, raising children, building families, keeping the social fabric strong. Many have worked part-time or had to give up their jobs altogether to care for their children, only to find later that their pension contributions were far too low. The term Mütterrente became a symbol of fairness, an attempt to value motherhood in the pension system. Now, mit Mütterrente 3, das dream moves one giant step closer to reality. Let's start from the beginning. Back in 2014, the government introduced the first Mütterrente, granting mothers who had children before 1992 one additional pension point per child. It was a milestone, but still far from equal treatment. Then, in 2019, came Mütterrente 2, increasing the credit to 2.5 years of pension entitlement for older mothers. It was a step forward, but critics said it wasn't enough, that many mothers were still left behind. Now, in 2025, the CSU has taken a bold move. Mütterrente 3 aims to close the last major gap and finally bring complete equality for mothers, regardless of when their children were born. According to insiders, the CSU pushed hard for this change in the latest coalition talks, insisting that no generation of mothers should feel forgotten or treated unfairly. And guess what? They won. The government has agreed to implement this reform starting in mid-2025. So what exactly does this mean in practical terms? Let's break it down. Until now, mothers of children born before 1992 received fewer pension points than those whose children were born later. With Mütterrente 3, every mother will now receive 3 full pension points per child. That translates to roughly 100 euros more per month and per child in pension payments, for life. Imagine a mother of 3. That could mean up to 300 euros more every single month. Over the course of a year, that's 3,600 euros, and over 10 years, more than 36,000 euros extra. That's not just a small improvement, that's a life-changing difference, especially for older women who are already struggling with rising living costs, higher rent, and energy bills. Many of them spent decades caring for children, often without a proper income or career opportunities. Now they're finally getting recognition in a tangible financial way. But that's not all. The reform will also include retroactive payments for mothers who already receive pensions. That means if you are already retired and your children were born before 1992, you will see an automatic adjustment in your pension payments once the reform takes effect. The exact implementation date is expected to be July 1, 2025, but preparations are already underway. The Deutsche Rentenversicherung is working on updating their systems so that adjustments can happen without delays. It's estimated that around 10 million mothers will benefit from this new regulation. The cost for the federal budget? Roughly 12 billion euros per year. Yes, it's a big number, but the CSU argues it's a necessary investment in fairness and social stability. "We cannot afford not to do it," said one CSU spokesperson. "Our mothers deserve respect, not just in words, but in their pensions." The political implications are also fascinating. The SPD and the Greens initially resisted the CSU's demand, arguing that the budget was already tight and that the focus should be on future generations. But the CSU stood firm. They framed it as an issue of justice and recognition, not spending. The strategy worked. In the end, even critics admitted that it was politically impossible to deny millions of mothers the equality they had long been promised. Public reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Social media is full of comments from mothers celebrating the decision. One wrote, "Finally, I raised 3 kids before 1992 and always felt forgotten. This means so much to me." Another said, "My pension is small, but this will make a huge difference. Thank you to everyone who fought for us." Still, there are questions about funding. Some economists warn that this reform could strain the pension system further, especially with demographic change and an aging population. However, the government insists the costs are manageable, thanks to higher tax revenues and stable employment rates. They also emphasize that the reform will be phased in carefully to ensure smooth implementation. Let's take a moment to understand the broader impact of this. The Mütterrente isn't just about money, it's about recognition and respect. It sends a clear signal that raising children is work, valuable work, and should count equally in our society. For decades, unpaid family labor has been undervalued, and many mothers have suffered financially as a result. This reform changes that narrative. It says your effort matters, your contribution matters, and you deserve a fair pension for it. Think of an older woman, now in her 70s, who spent her life caring for her children and grandchildren, perhaps even looking after her elderly parents. She may never have had the chance to build a large pension of her own. With Mütterrente 3, her monthly income could increase significantly, enough to ease her worries about the electricity bill, the rent, or the rising price of groceries. It's a sign that society has not forgotten her. And if you're not sure whether you qualify, don't worry. The Rentenversicherung will soon send out official information letters explaining who is eligible, how much more you can expect, and when exactly the new payments will begin. So keep an eye on your mailbox around mid-2025. As with all pension changes, patience will be important. It might take a few months before everyone receives their adjusted payments. But the most important thing is, it's happening. The decision has been made. Mütterrente 3 is real, and millions will feel the positive effects. Let's be honest. In times when headlines are often filled with negative news, this one feels different. It's a reminder that politics can sometimes bring good news, that fairness can win, and that those who built the foundation of our society are not forgotten. If you think about it, this reform is not just about the past, it's about the future. It's about showing our children and grandchildren that taking care of family will always be valued. That's the kind of message a strong society sends. So, as we look ahead to 2025, one thing is certain. For millions of mothers, this year will mark a new chapter, one of recognition, respect, and well-deserved relief. The Mütterrente 3 is not just a policy, it's a thank you. A thank you for years of care, love, and dedication that made Germany what it is today. If you found this news helpful, make sure to share it with friends or family who might be affected, especially mothers who deserve to know about this great change. And if you want to stay up to date on everything related to pensions, benefits, and upcoming social reforms, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and hit that bell icon. Because here, you'll always get the latest updates, clearly explained, honestly reported, and easy to understand. Thank you for watching, and to all the mothers out there, this one's for you. Die Rekonnexion ihr betet vor, ist finally here. Mütterrente 3 kommt, und sie kommt genau zur richtigen Zeit.